right, y'all. Rick's Around the Morning Show, 10 minutes after the hour, y'all. Listen, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signed a bill on Monday banning tax dollars from being used in state colleges for diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. In a sweeping measure that also places restrictions on classroom discussion of race. So our next guest is the only certified teacher in Georgia teaching AP, that's African American Studies. And he has made it his mission to educate the masses about African American studies and DEI programs. Y'all, please welcome to the Rick's Around the Morning Show, educator, advocate, and freedom fighter, Rashad Brown, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning, Ricky. How you doing? Good morning, everybody.
Hey, man, I'm doing good. Thank you so much for jumping on with us this morning. We happy to have you. Now, I got to ask you, what is DEI, and why is funding for DEI and the teaching of African American studies so controversial in Florida?
Well, it's controversial in Florida because you have a governor down there who really wants to rewrite history, right? Like, he really wants to pretend as if everything is fair and equal and equitable currently, but we know that's just historically inaccurate, right? Diversity, equity, and inclusion is basically the premise is that we want to create a fair, equal environment where we give everybody opportunities where they have been historically disenfranchised from. As you mentioned, I'm the only certified teacher teaching AP African American Studies in Georgia and one of 60 in the country. And this is a really big blow to black and brown communities, not only in Florida, but across the country, because other governors in other states are looking at Florida as a template for potentially implementing similar policies.
Well, what have your students, parents, and community members expressed when observing you teach this course?
So the wonderful thing when I teach this course is we really get to talk about real issues and real things. And it's a loving, caring, nurturing environment where we just put things in historical perspective. So, for example, one activity we did, we looked at anti-literacy laws. And anti-literacy laws were passed all throughout the antebellum South, right? And these laws literally said teaching anybody who was a former slave or enslaved to read and write was a crime, punishable under law. You could be fined, imprisoned, and so on and so forth. And ironically, the students compared the states that passed the anti-literacy laws to the current states who want to ban African American studies as well as DEI. And ironically, Ricky, they found that the states were very, very similar, which goes to show that they are threatened when people access knowledge. There is a threat because when you gain more knowledge, you are now more so able to advocate for your rights, advocate for equal treatment under the law. And so that was always historically seen as a threat. So we're seeing a re-emergence of these modern-day anti-literacy laws.
So, Mr. Brown, so what are you doing to further the mission of teaching African American studies, especially in the states that are currently banned in it, like Florida?
Yeah.
Well, what I'm doing is I've started a nonprofit organization, African American Studies Experience. And what I'm doing is I'm going around to different school districts and different businesses and organizations to kind of bring together everybody to understand the importance of teaching African American studies as well as DEI. I'm not sure if everybody's aware, but in places like Florida, for example, you have Japanese studies, Italian studies, German studies, everybody else's studies, but the only one that is banned is African American studies. So we've started a nonprofit called African American Studies Experience, and I'm the African American Studies guru, which is to say that I'm going to take the lead, and I'm using it as a personal mission to further this cause, because this is something that everyone needs to know. African American history is American history. It's not something separate, and it's not something that we're going to allow the governor of Florida or anyone else to erase.
So how can, Dr. Brown, how can people get involved with standing up for diversity, equity, and inclusion and supporting your mission?
Well, I have a website, aasguru.com, and I would just love people to come and visit. We have different seminars that we do. I've been around the country. I've been to Columbia University with the Black Educators Rock Convention and the Off School Grounds Convention. I'm going to speak there later this summer in Jacksonville, July 13th through the 16th. And if you just visit my website, we host different educational seminars for teachers. I work with school districts to help teach this curriculum, because There's only 60 schools currently right now in the country where this course is offered, but it is going to be expanding. And so I want to be able to really help educate school districts and teachers about how to implement this curriculum, how to really ingratiate the community, because we all know, Rickey, that getting community involvement is always one of the most important steps when we're talking about being a change agent and being really active. And this is what we're going to have to do. So if you would just please visit my website at aasguru.com. We can help further this mission, and we're going to take on DeSantis. We call him Trump light around here, but he's not going to be able to erase our history.
Hey, Mr. Rashad Brown, we're going to have you come on, and I want you to really break down how dangerous Ron DeSantis is. And
he's
what I'm
very
hearing.
dangerous.
Oh, yeah,
you
man.
Know you're dangerous if you take on Mickey Mouse. I mean, how you don't like Mickey Mouse?
Yeah, and
I would love to come on, Rickey.
Yeah, he's just as racist as Trump, but he's smarter. That's the difference.
And that's the real danger, because he can twist words and make it seem as if being inclusive is somehow racist and discriminatory. And when you're used to being on top, Rickey, when you're used to being the only one in the room, when you try to bring other people in the room, you seem as if you're being put down. But it's not putting down to include others. And this is what we have to get out. This is the message that we have to bring out. Bringing other people in does not mean that you're being excluded out.
Man, we really appreciate you, man. I love having you on, and then also Mr. Rashad Brown want to talk about that gerrymandering and how they doing all of the redistricting, trying to set it up where people that look like me and you don't have nobody to represent us in any of the state houses, all of it, because I'm telling y'all, local government is so important. Just watch what's going on. Watch what's going on. So, Mr. Rashad Brown, thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to having you back. One more time, giving your website, one more again.
AASguru.com. That's African American Studies Guru, AASguru.com. And I look forward to coming to join you all. Thank you so much for having me in this morning. And I pray for everyone, and thank you so much for this opportunity.
No, man, thank you. Thank you. Rashad Brown, ladies and gentlemen, got the front page. Coming up next, Rick's Morning Show.